The biggest thing that I'm keeping an eye on here is there's a couple positives and negatives, right? So the big thing here is your FTX collapse drop. That so far price is staying in the lower range of that drop. As long as price stays in that lower range, it creates what's called a bear flag, or in spirit of bear flag. And as the name suggests, it is overall bearish. So in general, I'm kind of in the camp that we're probably headed a little bit lower. I have some levels down here around 13,000, give or take a little bit, that I think eventually will break through. The big spot is going to be the low here, right? The FTX collapse low around 15,700. If we take that out, that's where the next leg lower probably kicks in. On the positive side, so always like to kind of talk about a little bit of a positive here. I think we are towards the end of the Bitcoin bear market, meaning that in the next 6 months, I'm anticipating a bottom. The reason I say that is there's some signals coming up here. Like if you look at the Terra Luna collapse, Bitcoin lost 45% of its value. With FTX, which was arguably a much bigger collapse for the crypto markets, Bitcoin only lost 25%. So you see this kind of ability for Bitcoin to almost shrug off a little bit of the negativity there. And I think that's usually a sign that we're getting closer to the bottom.
All right. Even before the dramatic collapse of the trading platform FTX last month, the price of Bitcoin had fallen substantially in 2022. The product of rising interest rates, its increasing correlation with beaten-down tech stocks, and instability emanating from other corners of the crypto ecosystem. The price of Bitcoin fell even further as the FTX drama unfolded. But not only has its price not gone to zero, it has settled at around $17,000 and held steady around that point for more than a month. In this video, popular technical analyst Gareth Soloway highlights that there is a possibility for a near-term breakout in Bitcoin, but any weakness in the Nasdaq could send the crypto falling to potentially test new lows this year. Soloway, who last year had predicted a fall in Bitcoin's price from $65,000 to $20,000, said that his bearish views had their detractors. However, his forecast appears to be vindicated. In the recent interview with CryptoWendyO, Soloway discusses about the FTX collapse and gives his prediction about Bitcoin, like where our markets are going to lie. But before that, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to our channel.
So the only other thing I would say here on the charts that I'm kind of keeping an eye on is that on the bullish side, let's say we don't break down, what would be a trigger for me to maybe start getting bullish? And that trigger would be if price could trade above the FTX collapse. Just on a psychological basis, that high right now is really powerful because it represented this major catastrophe within the crypto markets. So if price were able to get above that, I think that's where you'd have to say, okay, wait, maybe we do have a bottom already. Until that happens, I'm kind of on the sidelines.
A group of non-US FTX customers are pushing to have their names and private information redacted from court documents as part of the crypto exchanges. The group is comprised of 15 people in individual or representative capacities, suggesting there is a far greater number in the group. In total, the ad hoc committee claims to represent around $1.9 billion worth of locked assets in FTX.com. Gareth further gave his point of view regarding the non-US FTX customers who want private info redacted from bankruptcy filings.
I think it seems like he's getting a slap on the wrist because the law works slowly, but I think it's important for us to recognize, like, you go back to past fraud cases like Bernie Madoff, which was like massive billions and billions of dollars, much like this, frankly. The prosecutors, their job isn't to like put up little updates on Twitter like, we all want, right? They're to build this hardcore case that when they go in front of a judge, it's going to be like a slam dunk conviction. And I don't think they want to necessarily let out of the bag a lot of the little inside things that can be detrimental in the court of law, because they don't want to give his lawyers an opportunity to necessarily figure out how to rebut it too. So I think, honestly, I think he's going to be going away for 10 to 20 years at minimum. I think it'll turn out to be a pretty hefty situation. I think the only possibility or only positive could be for him is that it's seeming like there's a lot of money still there. It's just he put it in like real estate. He put it here. So the possibility maybe investors get a good chunk of it back would be the positive of it. But yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna use this as a big example, like to send a shockwave through the crypto markets. Like, if you're gonna do this, you're gonna get punished just the same as if you're doing fraud in the stock market or anywhere else.
The disgraced founder of FTX hyped Solana and its ecosystem frequently for years. The bankrupt exchange held $982 million in Solana, according to its balance sheet. Additionally, Solana is the second largest holding of its sister trading firm Alameda Research. Zooming out, Solana lost over 95% of its value since its all-time high last November. A crash of this magnitude has shaken even the most resilient investors to the core. Solana dropped over 40% in the last 24 hours and nearly 50% in the last 7 days. Recently, Solana's SOL token was one of the biggest losers in the digital asset markets. Let's listen to Soloway's thoughts about Solana Dumb.
It's one of those things where you have to really just think about how much you're willing to lose and then take that shot if you're okay with it.
This is the current weekly chart, and I've told my audience I would be a buyer of Solana, probably in the $3 to $5 range. But considering, like, I think that there was the stuff that I've heard on the back end, I've heard there's money laundering done through Solana from Alameda. I can't confirm if that's true or not, but there's a lot of very interesting things that I've heard. So I would be a buyer like sub $3 at this point. It's down. And one of the things too is like people are very upset that it's so down because Solana has this big, massive community, which is fine and great. But at the same time, it's a very risky.
Gareth Soloway has said that Bitcoin could drop to $9,000 in 2023, but that he's not terribly concerned over the token's longer-term performance. So what are Soloway's all-time high Bitcoin prediction?
So I think it's going to take a little while. I think there's a lot of damage done in the crypto markets. The biggest thing, again, is going to be clarity through regulation, which will draw big money back in. I think it's going to take a few years, maybe into 2026, 2027. But I think the next bull market run will be, and let me show my chart here, because and again, this is going to make it really tough to predict. But see this trend line here? Wherever that is when price goes up there, maybe that's the target. So right now, I mean, right here, it's at 70 something thousand, but in 3 years, heck, this could be at 100, 150,000. I think makes sense if you connect that trend line, that could be where things are headed.
That's it for today. I hope you find this video more interesting and informative. What are your predictions about the Bitcoin in this year? Do tell us in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a big thumb up. See you in the next video.